this episode of That Kingsville Podcast. Cole Mastronardi, Corrine Ross, and Leigh Ann Mastronardi join us from the KDHS School Advisory Council Fundraising Subcommittee. It's a mouthful and a half. They join us to talk.
What's the acronym for that?
There's the KSACFSC. Doesn't have
means good work.
Means great work. They're here. They join us to talk about their event at KDHS on May 31st. We also discuss the Jack Minor and Kingsville public events. We talk a little bit about happenings in the community, some construction, and some broken street lights in the town of Kingsville. So stay tuned for all that and more on this episode of That Kingsville Podcast. That Kingsville Podcast proudly brought to you by Kingsville Brewery and Tap House 127 by Kingsville Brewery. Getting hungry at night? Fridays and Saturdays, Kev?
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
I do.
I know where you can go to get something
Love food.
Delicious to eat and drink.
Food always tastes better when it's dark out.
It does, especially when it's the menu at Kingsville Brewery. They run their full menu till 10 p.m. Fridays and Saturdays. You take your pick from 26 handcrafted items that will have your mouth watering as soon as you start reading them. You can always get beer delivered to your house free in Essex County. If you go to their website, kingsvillebrewery.com, you can check out the menu, kingsvillebrewery.com/taphouse. Thank you, Kingsville Brewery, for supporting That Kingsville Podcast. Welcome to That Kingsville Podcast. I'm your host, Dave Hunt. With me, Kevin Black, Steve Ianson, special guests, representatives from the KDHS School Advisory Council Fundraising Subcommittee. That's a mouthful if I ever heard one. Cole Mastronardi, Corrine Ross, and Leigh Ann Mastronardi. Thanks for joining us on the podcast tonight.
Thanks for having us.
No problem. So, a lot of things happening in the community about schools and whatnot, and what with the new school being built, and all the new opportunity for naming and mascots and whatnot. We do have some closures and some ends to some of the existing buildings. So, you're here to talk about KDHS specifically. So, going out with a bang. Big event planned. So. Can you tell us a bit about what's planned for the next couple of months while the last grade 12 class finishes up? We'll get to you, Cole. Don't worry.
Yes. Yes. Do you want me to speak on it?
Yeah.
First? Okay. So we are holding a Sendoff social at Kingsville District High School Friday, May 31st from 5 to 10 p.m. So this is to sort of commemorate the 103 years that the school's been in existence, which is crazy. And so we're basically taking over the entire school, cool. The migration hall, and the field, and we're having a huge party. So we're expecting a huge crowd, thousands of people. We already have a lot of alumni reaching out to us. Mm-hmm. They're very interested, and lots of them are traveling from far away. So the event includes alumni sport games, food vendors. There'll be local businesses set up selling food, live entertainment throughout the evening. So we have a DJ who's going to be playing all decades of music, and there will be some student performances and then some community groups that'll come out and do some performances. We've got bingo sessions in the cafeteria running.
Bingo.
Yeah.
We get a rival Mossy bingo from like an Aero Fair. Oh, can we get a cow? Can we get a cow? Please. I know what the name is.
Wow. No.
Hey now.
No. Then
Yes.
you have to be a donkey.
Definitely a donkey.
Yes, definitely. So we're doing tours. We have decade rooms that'll be set up. So a room basically for each decade, I think starting at the 50s on. And each decade room will be any memorabilia that we have collected through the years at the school. So
memorabilia, like, can I buy like the clock off the wall?
Okay, we've been told none of those things can be purchased.
Okay, if a clock goes missing from a wall, is anybody going to miss it?
They're going to need those at the new school, remember?
That's what's going to get there.
Definitely. So decade room tours and memorabilia sales. So we will be by donation. I believe it's going to be a minimum $5 donation for memorabilia. That includes, all the pennants you see hanging on the walls, because those, as you may not know, they don't move to the new school.
No.
So selling off things like that. We have many yearbooks that will be on display in the different rooms, and there will be jerseys and different items for sale.
Yeah, you can deck yourself out in vintage Cav wear.
Listening to this makes it all of a sudden seem so real.
Yeah.
and bittersweet.
How do you feel, Kevin? Sorry, Kevin didn't go to school here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it would be sad, I guess.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, definitely. So, yeah, you mentioned about fundraising. So, ultimately, what's the goal for fundraising for this event, and then other events that are surrounding the school and the new school?
For sure.
Well, we are looking for sponsorship, corporate sponsors for the actual event.
Mm-hmm.
There are some expenses, of course, to run an event that you're inviting the public to. So the school board is also funding some of the expenses, but we are looking for corporate sponsorship for the event and also to put towards things for the new school.
So what type of things are we raising the funds for? Because we have mentioned it on the podcast before that there's a lot that the new school doesn't have, and I think that there was another issue that kind of came up a little bit and kind of took away everybody's attention towards name rather than what the school doesn't have. So what are we raising money for?
Well, the school board has put together a list. The principal, I guess teachers are submitting ideas or things that they need for their classroom. Some things are going to be provided by the school board and other things are going on a list for us. I don't know exactly what's on the list right now besides the electronic sign. Mm-hmm. We're supposed to raise money for that.
Yes.
There's some other items for the classrooms.
There's drama room track lighting. There's bleachers indoor and bleachers outdoor. So
for that track we have.
I was saying, why do we need outdoor bleachers?
Yeah, there's no fields.
It's really for Canada Goose viewing.
Oh,
There's going to be a goose viewing program
and watching grass grow.
Yeah.
Grass growing program.
Hey.
I would assume there was nothing included for food prep since the school decided that it didn't need to have like proper kitchens or anything. That's because student nutrition isn't important.
Right. So there's no food prep area. There's no cafeteria. There is a foods and nutrition program. So there is going to be a room with a kitchen just specifically for the food and nutrition classroom. They're looking at options right now. The principal and vice principal are in the works of looking at different options that they can bring in. So kind of exploring if potentially there could be some local businesses that maybe could come in and sell prepackaged product.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a couple of different opportunities for that. However, it would have been really nice if there was something that kept students on campus and whatnot. But I guess it's changing times, right? We're inclusive of, that community that we can go out and purchase lunches and whatnot in, that takes the entire lunch hour to go to come back. Anyway.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of activities happening around, the May 31st timeframe. There's been other efforts, again, to fundraise, but this being really the big momentous occasion. So Cole, you are a grade 12 student currently at KDHS, and you're in the fitness leadership program.
Yep.
And you are helping organize some of the event on the 31st. What are you organizing?
So basically, it's a Cavs alumni game. So we're having an alumni game with like all the former athletes, Cavalier athletes. So we're basically going by decades. So 70s. 80s, 90s.
Oh, you're gonna pick on some real old alumni, right? I'm
ready to go up against the 50s.
Yeah. Want to go with the 50s?
I mean, they'll be in their 90s by now. I might be able to take one or
Steve
two.
versus Gord Queen.
Still beat me.
He would.
I mean, there'll be paramedics there. So.
Say Steve.
No, it's just
to go out because they're alumni or to save my ass a butt.
Yeah.
I think it's funny that he started at the 70s.
Yeah,
It's not even that
old.
It's old
I feel
to me.
old
It's
now.
old to me.
Yeah, we got that.
It's retro.
You were born in the 1900s. What do you know? Oh, yeah. So these games, what type of games are we going to be
So
playing?
there's basketball and volleyball. And
that's all happening from 5 to 10 p.m. that night?
3 to 9
Yeah.
is the whole event, right?
5 to 10.
Yeah.
We just
Okay.
actually
Yeah,
For the
changed time.
public.
It was changed, for the public.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the students will start some activities earlier in the day still,
Great.
right?
Yeah.
After school.
After school.
Changed the
Oh, okay.
schedule, yeah.
So, basketball, volleyball, we're going to have feats of strength, how much can you bench? Is Mr. Mickey still around?
Oh.
Well, he's.
I mean, locally. Like, is he locally here?
That I don't know. I really don't.
Well, I was going to say he was like the weightlifting coach when we were in high school, right? So, like, who can put up more, right? Come on now. There's a weight room up there. You guys use it, right?
Yeah. Definitely need paramedics.
Definitely need
paramedics.
Yeah. So, you going to do like a 3-on-3, 5-on-5?
Yeah, well, it depends on how many people sign up.
Sure.
Right? So, like, sign up start May 1st to 15th. So, we're in like 2 weeks.
How can they sign up?
So, like, soon, just stay tuned. Like, if you're following Cav Sports, Cavs Legacy, like all those, like Instagram, Facebook, they'll have like a link soon. Where you just.
I'm going to say, if you're trying to get the generations from like the 70s, you probably should mail
Facebook,
something.
Facebook. Facebook, that's old for me.
Yeah, I get it.
I really just have like Instagram stuff.
Our generation's the one that started the internet. It's crazy. But yeah, so you're hopeful that you can get enough.
Yeah.
So there's some meaningful games.
Yeah.
And it's all of those generation versus your graduating class or the groups?
We're actually not playing. It's basically
it's generation against generation.
Okay, maybe I'm in.
Yeah. It's about the alumni. Like, we're making this about the alumni because they get a chance to showcase their like.
Technically, you'll be an alumni too. You're the last graduating class.
Not yet though.
Well, but that's close enough. Like May 31st to what? June.
The countdown's on.
27th is grad.
Right.
If you want to get really technical. Yeah.
I still think your class should have, at least a little bit. Actually, any of them, juniors, seniors.
No, we gotta make it fair though. So.
No, you don't. Come on, there's teachers versus student games every assembly, right?
Yeah.
You just rub it in the current teachers, right? You got to have a showdown, right?
Sure.
It's like the last KDHS students versus the last KDHS teachers in a fight for supremacy, and whoever wins gets all the banners that they want, right?
Right.
Yeah, or something. I don't know.
Great idea.
I'm intrigued though. Like now all of a sudden my mind is working in different ways. I'm thinking, what would be if you were to take the best athletes from the 70s, 60s, 50s, 80s, 90s, and as they were then, what would be the strongest group of athletes? Like, I mean, we had, the 90s, there were some successful teams.
Yeah, keep in mind though, like this is like graduating year in the 70s. Like,
all I'm saying is like if you could take those guys and girls that graduated in the 70s and replicate them, or take them as they were.
It
would be the
strongest
group. Yeah, the all
like the most decorated, most decorated.
Look at it. But you think of people like Brent Murray. I know was part of some successful teams, and Brick Malott was part of some successful teams, but they were different decades.
Yeah,
and you look at who was surrounding them. I know when we got to high school, there was a strong volleyball group. I want to say like Matt Lear and Greg Leagood and different people like that, Steve Johnson. But if you could take, them from 80 to 89 and that group and compare them and say, okay, this is the group that you do not want to go up against. Even now.
Jordan era versus LeBron era.
Yeah,
there you go.
But Cavaliers, but like purple and gold Cavaliers, not Cleveland Cavaliers.
Right.
Anyway.
More league.
Sorry.
We need someone with the stats. Someone with the stats.
I don't know. Somebody's got to bring them.
Steve probably knows them off the top of his head.
Everything.
Just write it down.
You got him rattling all the players off. And like, that guy. I was like, I don't even remember any of these people. But so the games. Yeah. So are we gonna come to a point where the final ultimate generation is going to be crowned, because we need to do that, because that has to happen.
It's not really like a tournament.
No, we need to make it a tournament. You're missing the point, Cole. We need to make this a tournament.
The point is to have fun.
We need a winner.
Yeah.
Round robin.
Round robin.
Yeah. No, but we got to do eliminations, and then they own the school, right? Because it's just done. You don't need to do anything with it, so they'll just get it, and then we could.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that on your own time.
I can. Yeah, because I got all the time in the world.
You get the mascot.
This could be part of the class pro.
You can dress up as the mascot at home anytime.
Well, good segue. So, Leigh Ann, you were talking about some social media and a little bit of sites around town with the mascot. So, what's happening with our trusty Cavalier around town?
Know where you're going there.
To raise awareness for the fundraising.
That's a trigger word.
My eyes went wide. So Captain Cavalier's been spotted around town. His first sighting was at Spartan Nutrition, where he was looking for something to help calm him because he had just found out that he's losing his job.
Yes.
So
Yes, he is.
Oh, yeah. So he was pretty bummed out. And so he's since then been to Mama Bear Bakery and he tried out his hand in baking. He was trying to ice some cupcakes, didn't go well. He got kicked out of there. So he's making his way around town, Kingsville and Harrow, and getting ready for his big party, his big send-off party. Mm. So keep an eye on all our social channels.
What are those social channels?
So he has his own on Instagram. It's Real Captain Cavalier.
As opposed to the fake ones that,
because there actually was a Captain Cavalier already.
So. Well,
but he's the real one.
So he's the real one. And then on Facebook, it's on our Cavs Legacy Fund.
So, and where you see him, it's generally around the fundraising awareness, right? Like, let's start talking about it as a community, right? There's been a lot of negativity and whatnot, and this is something that still needs to take place, and we need to, participate and raise attention. So, kind of discussing further about the whole event, the entire community is welcome. You don't have to necessarily have been a Cavalier.
That's right.
Right? It's embracing the community school.
So our hope with this event is, since we did get off track a little bit with everything that's happened lately, is to really not lose sight of the fact that a 103-year-old's school community is over. I think there's just so much to be said for the Cavalier spirit. A lot of us here are either go there alumni, and we know that there's a special spirit to being a Cavalier. 5 to 6 of us were, yeah. Yes. So
sorry, Kev. That's okay.
We just feel it's very important that we get everyone back.
6 of the 7.
Together.
Sorry, Gary. 6 of the 7. Gary's giving me like the stink guy on camera. Sorry, Gary.
So we think it's just a great opportunity to get the community together and really celebrate this and kind of try to forget about what's happened, for the night and have a really nice time as a community and give this send off that the school deserves.
Can I suggest that that you do consider raising money for a sign, but maybe instead you work with the town to create a sign that honors the legacy of KDHS and the 103 years, because the time will come where that name will disappear, unfortunately. And maybe the best thing to do is to work with the town and create a heritage plaque. Absolutely. Somewhere that that it's not going to be taken away and that's remembered, because that's important. It's over 100 years of education in this town. That's generations and generations. That's important to make sure it's remembered.
That's right. Absolutely.
I would love to know who the oldest living Cavalier is.
Cole, come on, chop. Let's go through the list and start calling around. They don't have phone books anymore.
But little things, right? Like if you know that you were, realistically, someone would be in their late 90s.
Oh, yeah.
Or around 100. If you were class of 19, what?
55?
42? You'd be 18. You'd be 100. So if you're 100, you're born in 24. Yeah. So let's say if you're a class of early 1940s, and then whoever's one of the youngest graduates upcoming, that would be a fun photo too. That would represent
just say the
generations.
Represent the longevity of this school.
Exactly. Yeah. But so if you're out there listening and you're one of the oldest Cavaliers,
or if somebody who's in the community still that is,
yes, please get in touch with the ladies, because that would be a nice, in my opinion, a nice way to recognize them and like Cole says, the longevity of the school.
That's a great idea. Yeah. I like that.
Cole, what else is happening around KDHS? As we are quickly approaching May, you're looking at graduation exams and everything's kind of coming up fast, and you're taking on this event as well. So what else is happening within the walls of the high school?
Well, I know that our exams are a few days earlier now because they need time to pack. And there isn't 2 months of school that nobody's there at all. They can't pack then, or no, they're going to. I guess they don't really.
They have to unpack.
Yeah,
they do.
They do, right?
Yes, they do.
They've got to be there, right?
I'm laughing, but it's true.
Yeah.
Right. It's you can't pack in the last week of August and then expect to unpack in the first week.
I wonder if
so. As someone who's been in the old LDSS. Where the student artwork is still hanging on the walls to this day. Are they going to make sure that doesn't happen? and that everything is actually taken out, because there's still textbooks and artwork and all of that still inside that school.
I can speak to that.
Yeah.
Like, so I know this name is familiar to you, Scott Scandalberry. He came recently and did an inventory of what was in our school. And he, so I believe what's happening, what I've been told, is that there's certain things that are allocated that we can sell, and there's certain items that are fixed. So, like we said, the clock, different fixtures that cannot be taken out. As
Legally?
far as artwork, it's up to us as a committee to ensure, like, we're going to ensure that, like, at our event, that these things get
Returns.
Sold or given to the
appropriated.
proper owners. So also, that being said, that's only the 31st. They still have school after that. So at that point, I guess it would be up to the teachers to make sure the students get their artwork and things like that.
I wonder if my desk, like in grade 9 science class with my initials in it, are still there, and if they're going to end up with a new school. It probably
The
is.
desks have been replaced in that
Have
in
they?
the last 25
they
years.
have.
Yeah.
Jeez, sorry, Steve. Sorry, Steve. Over the Bunsen burners and, we need those still. Do they make Bunsen burners?
I always wondered if there were still band stickers from when we were in our band in high school that were still in the lockers, but all the lockers have changed.
Yeah, they have.
So.
Yeah. Well, that's
But there are, and I mean, we're kind of going slightly off topic, but everyone's got their own little memory.
Mhm.
So I'm wondering, how are you collecting information, like even small little anecdotes, just to say, you know what, high school, I enjoyed it. It was a great time for me, but this is what really stood out. Or, maybe it wasn't the best time of your life, but I'm thankful for being a Cavalier because of this.
Mm-hmm.
Are you looking for stories like this to kind of commemorate, or is it more just the celebration the day of?
I think that would be great.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think that we just haven't got to that level of planning.
Okay, sorry, I'm not trying to.
No, but it's a great idea.
You know, like there's been a lot of distractions, but we're really trying to just focus on the structure of the event, but certainly layering in ideas. We did have a call out for ideas back in February, March.
So where were you, Steve?
Probably angry somewhere.
He was in a committee.
He was in a committee.
Yeah.
Grinding my teeth and
wasting hours. 6.
But
total
yeah,
hours.
certainly if you have ideas like that, like I think that's a great idea. Reflections on KDHS or,
The other schools. We'll get to the other schools
So
later.
part of our
Yeah.
our event sponsorship opportunities, the businesses that step up do get an ad in a program that we're putting out that evening, which will have some old photos and things like that. And maybe we could add little blurbs from certain
anecdotes,
people.
notes.
Anecdotes.
I remember that time when
Some might not want to put in there.
No,
exactly.
you have
So-
editorial.
There's got to be a
Family event.
level of editing.
No, but I mean, there's so many life-defining moments that happen in the 4 or 5 years that you're in high school, regardless of where you go to school, that,
Like in mine, we brought back Carnival, right? And that was the thing that went away for a while. And then we brought it back and, all the fashion shows that everybody was in kind of thing, right? There was events that everybody, what else? Cole, what did you do 3 or 4, 3 and some bit years?
It's like COVID.
Yeah.
We got back into the spirit by grade 11. And we started doing assemblies again. And it really felt, that's when it really felt like normal high school, And
Like a community.
Exactly.
Right? Like that's an important part of it.
I kind of got it cut short, but
and there's great anecdotes from this graduating class, simply because of, you I don't want to say robbed. I mean, it was all very unfortunate the way COVID played out, but your experience is different than
ours.
90 years prior to, right? Those that attended during the war, I mean, again, would be in their late 90s, but that's a different era.
Mm-hmm. There's been trials and tribulations through the years where adversity and how do you still remain a student? So,
well, imagine someone lands on the moon and you go to school the next day.
Yeah.
Like
basically,
basically, that's that's happened at Kingsville High to Gary.
No, but
sorry, Gary.
Yeah, I mean, every major event that's happened in the past 100 years, unless it happened on a weekend, someone was, or the summer, but no, there's a lot that have happened while, you were in school. Where were you? I was in this class with this teacher. And
it's happened.
Yeah, September 11. Like there's lots of those events where people look back and think, you know, where was I when that happened? And for generations of people, it was KDHS.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was in those walls, and it's a shared experience among a peer group, and you know, it's relatable amongst generations and whatnot. So the event itself, like you're only a committee, you need help, right?
We do.
This is a big endeavor. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of things, like there's some student participation. You got to get those hours in before you graduate, right?
Oh, I got them.
Oh, good. Hey.
Some people are fighting for them.
Exactly.
I'm glad I'm not one of them.
You might want to make an announcement tomorrow. Like, hey, if you're short on hours, you can volunteer. But
That's right.
So you're looking for community volunteers as well.
We are. So we are hosting a volunteer fair at the high school in the cafeteria Monday, April 29th at 7 p.m. So we're looking for people of all ages to come out and offer to volunteer. Our hope is that between all the different activities we have a few volunteers so we can kind of rotate so the volunteers can visit all the different areas and maybe help out for an hour or two. We also, the student council at the high school has just created a subcommittee specifically to help us out. So I'll be meeting with them on Thursday as well. So lots of student help.
Fantastic. Yeah. It's again a community event, and anyone of any age group can help and participate.
Totally.
And that's how we succeed at things like this. So we're anticipating
Thousands, I'm hearing.
Thousands.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone from the entire town of Kingsville should be there, less a couple of people.
And there's a lot of people coming.
Don't say that, because then the robbers will know where to go.
Like, well, everyone's there. We know. Free reign.
That's right.
So when the event's taking place, is there anything else of note that people should kind of be considerate of? That, hey, there's going to be a lot of people. You know, is there food going to be available? You know, patience, cash only.
Yes, it's a cash only event. Thank you. It is. It's a cash only event. There's quite a few food vendors. We're just working out all those details right now. Definitely it's going to be busy and crowded, but our hope is that because it's such a large area that we're utilizing, that it should work out.
And we've got, the KDHS. Are they doing the car show again this year?
Yeah, it's the last one.
Victoria. Right. So there's a lot of lasts, right?
Yeah.
So Steve's coaching the last soccer team, right? And then the last car show, right?
The last prom is coming up.
Prom.
And the name of it is End of an Era, I believe.
Yeah.
The theme of the prom.
Yeah. Well, actually, I wore this for a couple of reasons, obviously with the purple, but the last 2 years we've had different warm-up jerseys. And my wife has ordered some this year. We're going gold. And on the back, there's actually a tribute to being part of the last.
Okay.
Oh, that's great.
The last team. So, it's it's a lot of lasts, a lot of ends. And again, a lot of beginnings that will come with it. But yeah, it's, I guess, I don't want to hit a nerve here with you, Leigh Ann, but you're so involved, as you talked about. You're chair of the committee and you're on the subcommittee, and you fought really hard over the last couple of months with other issues. Is it bittersweet? Is it just sad? Or I mean, you've got a daughter in high school who has 3 more years after this one.
That's right.
Where are you at with your sort of take on it all?
I think it's very sad. And I think too, I'm a very community-minded person. And I think the fact that our community is losing our school, essentially. And I know people say, well, we're still going to have a school in our community, but I just believe it takes generations to build up the type of spirit, the Cav spirit that we did. And that is, for me, the hardest part of dealing with all of this is losing that. I'm happy that my son was able to really benefit. My daughter gets 1 year of it. My hope is that we can bring it with us and somehow flourish something new in the new school, but it is a lot. You need closure, right? There needs to be some sort of closure to this.
And I mean, you 5 sisters all graduated. Son's graduated, daughter there. And I guess you're in a unique situation too, because you also have a child graduating from Jack Minor this year, correct?
Yeah.
How is it for you?
Yeah, I guess.
2 schools, I guess. On the
I guess, I went through the Ruthven closure as well. So
okay.
I feel like I've kind of got the experience of going through that. unfortunately, it does leave a sour taste in your mouth because it's not handled from the school board perspective in a way, that makes people feel, I don't know.
Embraced.
I guess from the school board, but I think our community is so strong. I know when I went away to university, all my friends were from bigger, cities, and they couldn't believe what I talked about my school, about my town. I got the Kingsville Reporter delivered in my mailbox.
I remember that.
At school, and just that community spirit. Like, I had to read the Reporter when it came in my mail, and they were like, "Oh my God, you know everybody in the paper." I'm like, "Yes, I know everybody, and I want to know what's going on," because we didn't have Facebook, right? Or Instagram or Snapchat. So really, that was the only way to get information. I mean, phone calls were still long distance charges. So I think that we don't realize what we have sometimes here in this community until we lose it, like during COVID, or in this situation when we lose our schools. I mean, losing Ruthven was a big loss for that community. I can say that the transition went well and everything. It was very positive in the end, but it was very difficult. And I think this will be similar. I think we will rebound. We will find a way out of it. But I guess this transition period is really just very difficult for everybody.
Well, for Jack Minor, I guess they'll be lucky because they're probably going to have to reopen anyway. So, give it a year.
Yeah, what was said? We're storing students there.
Yeah.
Funny you should mention that. So, KDHS and their sending off special, and this event is just one of 3 that are happening in the community because, as we all know, we lose 3 of the schools that are in the town of Kingsville. St. John de Brébeuf's the Catholic Board .ca, right, Steve? Oh, Catholic Board?
No, it's
I know.
cdsb.on.ca. But keep bringing that up. Get me going, Dave.
So Wednesday, May 15th, Jack Minor Public School is holding a closing celebration where past and present Jaguars from 1956, when that school was opened, to 2024, 5:30 to 7:30. Everybody's invited to participate in those events. And Kingsville Public School the next day, Thursday, the 16th, from 5 to 7. Also holding an event at KPS. So all current and former Cobras and families and community members invited because that school is over 100 years as well, right? Like, you can see at KPS, sorry, Jack Minor, you were built later in your modular school, but KPS, much like KDHS, went through phases of growth and transition. And, as you go through those hallways, which a few of us that are sitting here are also KPS alumni. So we were, Cobras first and then Cavaliers. There's that attachment to the community as well, and with it being in its location. So, there's a lot to reflect and celebrate and be a part of in the community through this next, month and a half.
I know on the KPS social media, they do have a QR code you can scan, which allows you to share a photo or a special memory that they're collecting.
Yeah. And
hashtag
KPS forever in our hearts.
Aww.
So it's and you know what, Corrine, you say that about when you went away and outside of the community. So I had the same kind of similar experience when I talk to people in my job and when I'm out and about, and they're amazed about how involved you can be in a community like this. And I did a little litmus test, and I asked people about the school name, the new school's name, and like, where would you think that is? And everyone said Erie, Pennsylvania. So I said, no, not Erie, Pennsylvania at all. And they drew a blank. This is the reason why I think we're all not well, I have to phrase this very, very carefully so I don't.
Concerned, disgruntled,
very right. Thank you. We're very concerned is because
frustrated.
Generationally, whether or not you were at the high school or the elementary schools, or you're a part of Kingsville's community, Harrow's included, Ruthven's included, Cotham's included. So we're a greater area, we're a greater group of folks, and we lose that location identity with the school. So. It's a great thing that your organization and the students are putting together to celebrate, because the plans for that property still have yet to be determined. Right, there's a lot of potential. There's a lot of opportunity that may happen. But one thing's for sure, definitely not going to have any more school done there for the interim. So, in a whole volunteering, we can get they can get a hold of you through the social media channels, sponsorship opportunities. Again, social media channels. Is there any other thing that we should be mentioning just to make sure?
Sponsorship opportunities will be sent through the Kingsville and Harrow BIA.
Okay.
So they'll be going out to all the businesses.
Yeah.
Also, we'll be walking around handing out different opportunities,
Sure.
Walking right into businesses as well. But yeah, the best way to reach us would be through social media or on Kingsville DHS SAC at gmail.com would be by email.
Perfect. So Cole, I got to ask one more closing question. So as the last Cavalier graduating class, what does that mean to you? Because
it means a lot because 100-year school and you're the last graduate, right? Definitely
So you're gotta get all the gear and wear, and you're gonna put your diploma up and in the house and whatever, and display it proudly.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, for sure.
School pride.
Oh yeah.
Imagine being the last alphabetically in the graduating class.
There's the actual last person.
Yeah, the final
Yes.
one across
the
the stage.
actual
Yes, I don't know who it would be. Off the top of my head, Wolgar comes to mind, but
I don't know if there's anyone with
a Y or a Z, I don't know. But
When I was in school, it was always Anna Zuschlag. She was always
yes, more or less.
That's Jenna with us.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think that graduation is going to be very emotional.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I would imagine that there would be more than just the parents and close family members, because it is the end of a thing, right?
Yes.
And again, we all have. A lot of us, sorry, Kevin. A lot of us have that same thing. You live in Kingsville now. You're part of the community. I'm not going to deny that.
That's just Wildcat.
Yeah.
Just like a million other high schools.
Wildcat.
Hey, maybe that's an option.
Yeah.
And is grad at the Shirk?
Cats.
Wildcat.
Is it at the Shirk, the grad?
Yes.
Yeah, usually.
Yeah. So, and that's coming up the 27th of June. So there you go. That's, it is what it is. But thank you very much for joining us on the podcast tonight. Hopefully, attendance and volunteers do raise their hands and volunteer to help. And we'll see you there in a few weeks, May 31st. Again, 5 to 10, KDHS Sendoff Social. Thanks again for joining us on the podcast.
Great.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for
Yeah,
having us.
Thank you.
So lots happening in the community with the schools closing. It's time. It's coming, right? We're into almost May, right? But this weekend is Earth Day, or Monday actually, the 22nd's Monday. But on Saturday the 20th. The Rotary in Cottam and Kingsville are hosting cleanup events. You can go to Ridgeview Park in Cottam if you know where Cottam is.
No. I try not to go there.
Yeah, everybody should get out there. Whether or not be Cottam, Roofman. Yeah, pitch in exactly.
So you're saying 420 is like a day to go green?
Are you advertising for a couple other businesses in the town of Kingsville inadvertently? Yeah, no, always a great thing. I've participated in a couple of years in the past, and it's great to see people along the Greenway and in parts of town, and then the bags of garbage that you collect.
Like so much.
Just makes you don't see it until you see it, and then when you see it, it's disgusting, and you're like, oh.
Where have you guys done the cleanup on the Greenway?
Yeah.
What was the worst area that you found?
I was from the McCain side road out, so it was just blowing debris. It wasn't terrible, but
I know I haven't done it, but I talked to someone and they've gone from sort of just past Meadowa Station Restaurant to Wigle, and then just the other side. A lot of dog, like they actually said, like people are sure they're picking up their dog poo and putting it in the bags, but then they're just leaving the bags behind.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that, I guess.
Last year I did from like Main Street, like Seacliff by the golf course from whatever you want to call it there, out towards like around by the golf course and then up to where like it goes up the hill.
Okay.
And part of that was brutal. Like just brutal. So much stuff. Like just trash.
Right. And it's not people going by just dumping their trash. It's the fact that just the way the air goes and circulates. And I know every spring the site of the new school, that field was just covered in garbage because, you would get nights where, it's okay, it's recycle night. So people put out the recycling and then you hear it and you hear the clink, 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 clink going down the street. And the next thing you know, it's all being blown down Woody Crest across the road and into the field.
Yeah.
So you almost have these catchment areas, for lack of a better term, that are just hubs for stuff like that, unfortunately. So.
Yeah, if only there was more, garbage receptacles that IRCA could put along the path and, maybe alleviate some of that, but
sure,
it is difficult for collection, right?
And that's what I was going to say. I guess, what do you do? Do you
at every intersection, maybe a bin or a receptacle would be?
They're pretty close to that.
Well, in town proper,
but, yeah. When you get out in some of the, like you could do
right,
it, but
and again, a lot of it is, I think, just being blown there. That's
So I do have to make a correction, Steve. You and I last week we improperly declared where this year's Kingsville Essex Highland Games was going to be located.
Yes.
It is not at Jack Minor.
Heritage Village?
It is at Heritage Village. It is June 22nd. You can go to their website, Kingsville Games, .ticket.ca, because, or just Google it, because their early bird tickets end April 30th. That's $15.55 for a ticket. So they've got a link there. Go to their Facebook, Kingsville-Essex Highland Games. Because again, another great event that's supporting in the community. So I do apologize. It's not at Jack Minor. It is at Heritage Village. Another great event.
Essex.
Did they? Did they?
That's why they have Kingsville Essex Highland Games now.
Did they mention why they changed? Because it sounded like last year they said Jack Minor seemed like it was like the picture perfect location to hold the games.
Nope. It was described as just being an interim solution for the games while they were in transition. So maybe the Heritage Village is a more permanent place. Again, a great place for an event like that. Lots of wide open space, lots of opportunity for parking and people to mill around. I attend a couple of the car shows that happen there every year. So, you can get a few thousand people out there and not be all over each other. So
I don't remember them saying that was interim.
Again, there's lots happening.
Yeah.
I don't have those
Things
brain
change.
cells. I don't have those brain cells left over afterward, but yeah. Aside from that, guys, it's spring is sprung.
Spring is sprung.
We're in it.
Weather's great. Golf courses are open. There is. So the town did approve some construction. We should probably mention it.
Yeah.
I forgot about those guys.
The town?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they do
They're
things
still doing stuff?
They still
Okay,
do.
good,
They
good.
still do things.
I did make mention to a council member through what all the last couple of months and all that, attention being focused. I said, you guys can get away with anything right now. Nobody's paying attention. And there was,
Did they mention anything?
Somewhat of a chuckle.
They didn't say anything about like the 183 Main Ontario Land Tribunal hearing or anything like that, or they didn't say anything about the
first place.
with the $100 fine fee that they're trying to impose on bunkhouses and boarding houses. Nothing on that.
Kevin, you're spoiling
Interesting.
future episodes.
Interesting.
Yeah. What about lighting bylaws?
So weird. I guess that got changed. Strange. We didn't see that coming.
Nope. Construction.
There's going to be some construction happening at Main and Jasperson. They're adding a turning lane there. So if you're heading westbound, you'll be able to divert off and then make that turn at Jasperson.
Yeah. So in front of the bank.
Yeah, in front of the bank.
Libro.
Credit Union.
Yeah.
Credit union. Bank. Whatever. Credit union. Yes. Libro.
It'd be interesting to see how far back that turning lane goes because you wouldn't think there's a whole lot of space there with the driveway into the bank. So are you going to get like a car? Like a couple cars?
Yeah. One or two. I didn't know it was that big of a problem.
It doesn't, I live there.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't notice that is a problem. The one cool thing though that is nice is that they're going to be extending the multi-use path, which is in that area. So that will make it a little bit easier to get to the Greenway. That's about the only benefit that I can really see as someone who will be
How much
could it even be as long as a bus? Like I'm sure they're probably thinking, we better be able to, make up for the thousands of cars that are going to go on to Jasperson once the new school opens. And would the turning lane be big enough to get at least a bus out of the way?
That's the point. It's like if you have two cars they're continuing on Main Street, that would block any access to any turning lane. So the most traffic you could alleviate at any one point in time is maybe 3 cars if they are Chevy Sprints and or like Nissan Micras, right? Like, like is it a matter of
like 14 e-bikes?
Yes.
Also, and I'm actually going to be going home and filing a Kingsville Works at Kingsville.ca email today. Because I've had enough. And as soon as I mention the intersection, you'll say, and because you know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. And we'll see if you know what I'm talking about when I mention it. Main and Remark.
Oh my gosh, the light.
Oh, they're broken.
The light that's it's a psycho light.
Complete disaster.
They're broken.
So and so anytime that I'm at one business in the town and I'm heading north on Wigle, you can't wait for that light because it cycles through the flashing hand at least twice. So then you have to make the right hand, and it's actually faster for me to make the turn, go down Main Street, and then make a left onto Jasperson, and that's barring without even knowing about a turning lane, and I can get home before that light even changes.
I think Dave, you and I have experienced something similar.
And when Kevin and I have as well too, right? Like all 3 of us.
Yes.
And it's so frustrating because it's weight censored or it's laser eye censored or something like that, but it is so horribly out of calibration or broken that you think about tourism, like people coming off of the ferry.
So it's funny because 2 instances, because this has been a problem for a long time, but I saw 2 instances over the past week happen and realized, okay, someone has to file something. I watched a person, and I was stuck behind them, watched a person watch it cycle. And then they're from out of town. They had, I forget, there was like a Newmarket license plate, and watched it cycle and then realized, and then I assume they thought that the light was just broken. So then they look both ways, thinking it's a 4-way, and pull out and almost got smoked by a car coming around the corner. And that person obviously would have ended up in the wrong, but it's the town's fault because that intersection is broken.
Yeah.
So then yesterday, I'm walking down Main Street by Kingsville Court, and there's a gentleman there who clearly had some mobility issues. He had a walker, and he's at the intersection waiting to cross south towards Wigle to get over to where the laundromat area is. Watched him hit the button, stand there. The light changed, but the signal hand never changed. Yeah. So he waited. And then the light just cycles right through. And so then he already has mobility issues. You could see he was kind of struggling. Pushes the button again. It took 3 times for it finally to go the proper way so that he could walk across. And then it happened again the other direction. That intersection
15 minutes to his excursion.
Yeah, that
at least.
That intersection is a complete disaster. I don't know how someone at the town hasn't figured it out.
Yeah.
We know Richard Wyma speed walks through there all the time. You'd think that he would know. Maybe he's going too quick, but if you notice,
that's a callback. That's a callback.
You know what? So
was it 8 minutes?
It took at least as long as I've been ranting about it.
At least.
Yeah, it just changed. Yeah, you pushed the button when you started, and it's crossing right now.
You know, we got other topics that we're going to talk about in the next episode here in May and whatnot. But I'm sure the cycle of fun will kick back off, and we'll have more than enough things to talk about town wise in this lovely town of Kingsville, Ontario, where we all live and reside and are proud citizens of. Kingsville, right? Not Erie, something or other. So, fun. Thanks again to Cole, Corrine, and Leigh Ann for joining us on this episode. Please If you're interested, May 31st for KDHS, May 16th and 15th for Jack Minor and Kingsville Public School for their closing. No, it's 15th for Jack Minor and 16th for KPS. Did I invert that? Sorry. Thank you, Steve. That's a correct correction. I incorrectly corrected you. Yeah, whatever.
I'm not sure.
It is what it is. Your kids don't go there.
from here.
Yeah, and your kids don't go to the school. So thanks, Gary, for production. Please, again, like and subscribe. YouTube's taken off. Apparently, it's a big deal.
Catholic board doesn't look too bad now, right?
I'm just saying, a lot of folks have been talking about switching their taxation funding allocation.
It doesn't work that way.
I know it doesn't work that way, but
if anything, you'd be better to switch it to the public board so you can vote for the next trustee.
correct. That would be fantastic.
I am aware of people who are switching directions in their education.
I've
and
heard.
We're going to come, and then
I've
heard the name and decided, you know what, maybe not.
Similar things. We'll see. September is a few months away, so we'll see what the enrollment is. Who knows?
Hey, maybe this was their grand plan all along for enrollment.
So they had enough space for all the students. Oy vey. One can wonder. So thanks again for participating in that Kingsville podcast. We'll see you next time.